What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon MLB DFS video. It is August 29th. It is a Tuesday, and we are back with a full slate. I want to welcome everyone back. Welcome all the new subscribers, new viewers to this. If you don't know what we do, we go through everything. So I did see a comment yesterday saying, LOL, you like 8 players from each game. Yeah. I'm giving options. We are going through every single game. We are looking at all of the pitching. We are looking at how they've been doing, how they've done in the past, and the batters that you can target from the games. We are not giving you 5 plays to play that night, and that is it. There is a difference between us and just other DFS providers. They give you a certain amount of players, and that's all they do. And whether or not those go off or not, okay, that's why their videos are 5 minutes long. I get it. If this is too much for you, if you can't sit there and listen to a full breakdown, this is probably not the channel for you. If you are looking for an intense breakdown, looking at everything, this could be the place for you. So, that being said, we have giveaways every single day. We have FantasyTeamAdvisors.com is the website, and anytime a video gets at least 50 likes, you leave a comment, you are a subscriber, you have a chance to win a free week of DFS content. 100 likes equals a free year, or a free month. 125 likes equals a free year, and 150 likes equals a lifetime pass. Now, this is the website. We go through a lot of free information on here. We go through a lot of information, actually. And if that's good enough for you, all I ask is just hit the like button on these videos. Maybe watch the ads, click on the ads, because that definitely helps the channel out as well. If you need a little bit more help, you can always go to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. FTA Plus, $24.99 for a month. It's a month of MLB, MMA, NASCAR, NFL, and PGA. The NFL will be here in, 10 days from now? And that's what we've got to offer. If you want to go a little bit more, you can go FTA Plus. There's a yearly pass. Use the promo code NFLVIP. You get $100 off. You get it for $99 right now. I did have a couple people ask me if I subscribe to that year pass and I win something on this, these giveaways on these videos, does that add on top of my subscription? It does. So if you buy a year pass, $100 off. I think we only have 3 coupon codes left. But if you buy a year pass and then you are chosen for, let's say, a free month, you're going to get 13 months instead of 12, so on and so forth. You can win every single day. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to see who the winner is from yesterday's video, and you can win multiple times. A lot of people have already won multiple times. So the winner is Bill Collins with the comment, "Let's roll." Now, I'm not 100% sure if Bill has an account on the website. So, Bill, if you see this, please like this video, tell me you saw it, and then there's 2 ways to get hold of us. Email us, dfshelp1@gmail.com. That's dfshelp, the number 1 at gmail.com, with the username you would like to use and the email address you would like attached to it. Or you can always hit us up on Twitter at advisors_team, and we'll get you set up that way too. I just need a username and an email that we can get you set up. So, that being said, if Bill comes back tomorrow and the next day, he has a chance to win multiple times. It will really depend on you guys if it's a month or a week or a year or even a lifetime pass. Obviously, if you win multiple lifetime passes, we're going to give it to somebody else because there's only one life to live. So, that being said, we do have a full slate. We've got, 3 early games? We have 3 early games. But the problem is there's weather concerns in 2 of the 3 right now. Now, depending on when you watch this video, maybe the weather concerns are gone. Maybe that is past. But as of the making of the video, we do have some weather concerns. On top of that, towards the end of the video, we do simulations. On our website, we do simulations. And something we added yesterday was, in this video, we do 2,000 simulations, and we let you know the top 10 pitchers and batters after 2,000 simulations. Towards the end of the day, about an hour before lineups lock on our website, under the MLB DFS player projections, we do 10,000 total simulations, and we put the final simulations there. So we have added the 2,000 simulation mark and the 10,000, so you can kind of see what has changed. So depending on when you go in there, we will update. It's usually about an hour or 2 hours before lineups lock, because that's when most of the lineups are out for the day. That is when we update that. So That being said, after we go through all of this, if you want to help us out as well, checking out the article attached to this video has the top 5 or 6 pitchers we like on the slate, and then about the top three plays at each position against the pitcher we like. And then we do have some stacks as well. And I've been thinking about doing this for NFL as well. We are a week and a half away from NFL. This week I will be doing some week 1, kind of just waiting. Preseason's over. We're waiting for any news, the roster cuts, and then we're going to start putting out the week 1 rankings. And we're just going to start rolling with NFL DFS, which we're very, very excited about. NFL DFS might be our best sport. I'm not sure, but we've had a lot of success with it. We give a lot of information out, and we're just very excited for it. So that being said, we got the first game on the slate, the Angels at the Phillies. You got Tyler Anderson versus Michael Lorenzen and the Phillies. Now, looking at Tyler Anderson, he is down here, very low here. Game logs, he last pitched August 23rd, so 6 days ago. Came in, went 4.2 innings, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts, but 3 walks. So came down a little bit against Cincy, 7,800, 14.9. Didn't get the 2 times value that we do look for, but he was serviceable. Now he's 1,000 less, but he does have a worse matchup here against Philly. We look at this, home games, he's a little bit better than he is on the road, but it's still 5+ ERA. Probably staying away from Tyler Anderson here, and I would definitely be looking at the Phillies bats here. Then Lorenzen, this is the one that I don't know. So we all were there. We all used him when he had a no-hitter, 9 innings against Washington. We ran it back after he waited 9 days to pitch. He only went 3.1 innings, 6 earned runs in that game. On top of that, against San Francisco, a team that was struggling at the time, his last start, 5.2 innings, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, and only 4 Ks. So he has struggled mightily here. We saw his price at $8,000. Then it went up to $1,200 after a no-hitter. Then it went down to $7,800, and now it's back up to $8,300. He has a good matchup on paper against LA. I don't know if it's in his psyche or if him hitting 124 pitches is his downfall. Tournaments, I would use Michael Lorenzen. I don't trust him enough in cash because I don't know if his arm's done. I don't know if there's a problem and they're just not addressing it and he throws out there. So he could have a fantastic game against the Angels. There's a couple bats that obviously Otani would be one that I would look at. But he's been lights out other than his past couple of starts after throwing 124 pitches. Now you got to think about that. He threw 124 pitches just in the game. That does not include the warm-up pitches he did during the day. Doesn't include the warm-up pitches in between innings. It doesn't include any of that. So in theory, the pitches they throw in a game is nowhere near what they threw during the day. I know they're built for that, but maybe it's something happened to him. So kind of wait to see. Tournament-wise, I'm okay with. Angels bats that I would use against him, Shohei Ohtani. I would look at Brandon Drury. I would look at Mickey Moniak, maybe Moustakas, and Hunter Renfroe here. Those are ones that jump out to me right now if I'm using bats in an Angels stack. I don't want anything to do with Tyler Anderson. I would be looking at the Phillies bats. Schwarber, I don't care. Lefty, righty, doesn't matter. Bryce Harper, same thing. I would look at Brandon Marsh, Trey Turner. I mean, Phillies are a team that you want to stack almost every day. I would look at Trey Turner against a lefty. I would look at Alec Boehm against a lefty. Nick Castellanos hits lefties well. So does Real Muto. So if you want to go with that comment, oh, LOL, you like 7 players from each team. The Phillies are a team that I love 7 players. Yes. The Braves are another team. The Braves are hitting I think they're hitting 274 as a team, which is ridiculous. Phillies, I will have multiple different stacks of the Phillies bats, just depending on what you can afford, what you can fit in there, especially this early slate, with not a ton of pitching here. So we look at that. There's only a few Angels bats. I'd rather stick with the Phillies there. But again, there is weather concern there, so that's something to watch. Next game, the Yankees at the Tigers. You got, I guess it's the Rays at the Marlins. You got Aaron Savale versus Sandy Alcantara. Savale here is the most expensive at $9,400. Game logs, couple of good games here. Couple of stinkers here after getting traded. So 2 bad starts followed by 2 good starts. $9,400. Then he went against Colorado. Now he's facing Miami. Hasn't faced Miami this year. Home games. or road games, he's actually been better on the road. 186 ERA. Could be in store for a good game here. He is the most expensive, but at 9,400, you can afford that. I would look at Savale a little bit. Problem is, Miami's been hitting when you don't think they're going to. That's kind of my thought. Then we look at Alcantara here. Game logs, not a good game against the Padres. Not really a good game against the Dodgers. An okay game against the Dodgers. And then a fantastic, complete game against the Yankees. Splits-wise, he's faced Tampa Bay once this year. Went 9 innings in that game. 1 earned run. 7 Ks. Trying to see if that was in Tampa Bay. That was at Tampa Bay. So now he's home. He's kind of been coming on a little bit. 9,000. I think you could look at Alcantara here. Again, you're going to have to get a little bit creative because it is 3-game slate. But there is weather concern for 2 of the games. So that might limit your pitching options to basically these 2 here. Will really depend on how this weather holds up and moves forward. So kind of waiting on that. I do know that there's a tropical storm going through Florida this week. I know it's a dome, but they could cancel it. I don't know if it's going to affect Miami or it's on the other coast. So that is definitely something to monitor. Again, I don't know how big, I can't remember how big Florida is across. If there's a weather pattern on the West Coast, if that affects, it would affect Miami at all. So that's maybe something to look at. I'm not 100% sure, because if that's true, then this weather would just probably just stay away from the slate. But that's there. And then the next game, you got the Yankees at Detroit. You got Michael King opening up. Just pitched 2.2 innings here. I mean, he was doing okay. He did get up to 50 pitches, so this is kind of I guess an audition as of some sort to maybe stretch him out for next year. Went 50 pitches there. Probably we're looking at 50 pitches again if he, does decent here. He went 2.2 innings there. Didn't give up any earned runs, and the bullpen came in and pooped that away. Then that brings us, he hasn't faced Detroit yet, so 5,000 I'm okay with, especially on like an early slate, because you could throw him in there. People will be off of him because he's an opener. But if he could go 3 innings and strike out like 3 or 4, you'd be pretty good at 5,000. Then Johnny Brito's coming in. Hasn't faced Detroit this year. In that game there, he went 2.1 innings, 1 earned run, 2 Ks. Then they pulled him after 34 pitches. It's probably going to be about the same thing again. That's the problem. Don't know what Boone's doing. Don't know what they're going to do with Johnny Brito here. So you would love for him to start a game, but it's just not happening. Probably maybe tournaments I'm okay with, but at 7,300, we don't know. I think I'd rather just pay up for Lorenzen or even Tariq Skubal. So we do have Skubal here. Game logs coming off a couple of good games here. Did have a bad game against Boston. Hasn't faced the Yankees. Has it ever? 27 plate appearances of the against the Yankees. So we look at this. 4 earned runs in that game, then 1 against Cleveland, 4 against Boston, none against Tampa Bay, 4 against Miami. So it's kind of a pattern. If he follows the pattern, he's going to have a good game against the Yankees, which most pitchers have had good games against the Yankees. So looking at this, we don't know what Yankees team's going to come out. Detroit has a chance to, in theory, if the Yankees could get swept, they would be in a lottery spot here for the draft, which we haven't seen them for a while. Maybe heads would roll then, but it just depends. So we got Skubal coming in. If you want to look at the righties for the Yankees against him, Judge, Stanton, Everson Pereira, DJ LeMahieu, Gleyber Torres, Anthony Volpe, IKF, Harrison Bader. Those are the righties that if you want to take righties against Skubal, but he has a chance to strike out 10 plus. If I'm using bats here, it would be Aaron Judge. I would love Stanton if he's in the outfield, but I just don't know if he's going to be. Everson Pereira is still a cheap option because he really hasn't done much since he's been up. DJ LeMahieu's got some home runs in him lately. Kyle Higashioka, same thing. Gleyber Torres, Anthony Volpe. Those would be the bats that I'd use at the Yankees, or some combination of that. Then we flip over. Tigers bats that we could use against the opener and Johnny Brito or whenever the bullpen comes in. Parker Meadows is still a cheap option. I'd look at Spencer Torkelson. I'd look at Riley Green. Kerry Carpenter's been coming through lately a lot. Andy Ibanez would be a very cheap option. Kind of the same thing with Matt Vierling. I would look at them. Other than that, I don't really trust other bats here. I don't want to pay up for Cabrera. I don't want to use him. He just doesn't do it for me this year. So that is the thought in this game. Not Michael King at 5,000. If he can go at least 2.2 innings again, I'm okay with. But again, it's an opener situation. You really don't know what's going to happen. And the weather might be a concern. So Skubal, I think he's in a good spot. I think I would use him over Brito for 400 more, knowing you're going to get, he's a starter. He's going to go, 5+ innings that you can bank on. He's probably going to get 7+ strikeouts. I wouldn't be surprised. So the over-under strikeout bet I would do with Skubal would be 6.5. So looking at this, that is kind of the slate. It will really just depend on how the weather is here and if that tropical storm is going to affect this game at all. So I'll be very light on this early slate, and we'll move on to the main slate. So the White Sox at the Orioles is next. Jesse Schlotten's versus Dean Kramer. We're going to go all the way to the bottom here. He's down here. He's just an opener, I believe. Doesn't go deep into games unless he did his last start. We could definitely see. If it loads. Well, what is going on? Let's reload it real quick. Let me pause it until it's done. I don't know what's going on. Well, hey, would you look at that? It finally loaded. That's the problem. This computer is very old. I'm trying to bring you guys all this information. And sometimes it won't load. Sometimes it crashes. Sometimes it just freezes up. That's why I can't even use a webcam right now, because the webcam is just like jumpy and no one wants to see that. So that is why I'm trying to bring you the best information using the YouTube revenue that you guys either donate via the Super Thanks, which a lot of you have, FTA Plus, all of that to hopefully build or purchase a better computer, because this one I have is, I think, 12 years old now. So it's on its last legs, considering I've never upgraded anything inside. So very surprised that it's lasted this long. So back to this. Jesse Scholten's here. 5.2 innings. So he went the long. Well, no, he's gone 6. And that was against Oakland. He didn't even do a good game against Oakland. Now he's got Baltimore. I'm probably not looking at him at all. He's pitching on the road, which he is a little bit better on the road, but he only has 4 total starts there. So looking at that, I'm most likely going to be stacking Baltimore. Now, there is a weather concern here. With Baltimore, it's Dean Kramer. We can look at Dean Kramer here. And game logs, pretty good game against Toronto, which we did use him because they do strike out against righties quite a bit. And, up and down here. It is the White Sox. They've got a couple of bats that we'd look at. Pitching at home, he has been worse at home. This might be a game that with other pitching on the slate, this might just be a game that I move from and just with pitching and go with bats. So the bats in this game that have had success. Really, the only bats that jump out to me for the White Sox to even consider using would be Eloy Jimenez, Andrew Vaughn. Trace Thompson's more of a tournament option. Luis Robert is an option that I would use. Tournament other ones, Colas, Sheets, Moncada. I mean, there's not many that I like about this White Sox lineup, outside of the ones I just named. Baltimore, I mean, everyone's on the table. Gunnar Henderson, Mountcastle. O'Hearn came off the bench, I believe, on Sunday and hit a home run. I would look at Santander. I would look at Mullins and Adley Rutschman for Baltimore. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. I'm probably avoiding the pitching. I'm looking at more of the bats, and I'm more focused on Baltimore bats. Nationals at the Blue Jays. You got Mackenzie Gore versus Jose Barrios. We've got Mackenzie Gore here. Where is he? Do we not? Am I overlooking him? There he is. Looking at Mackenzie Gore, now it depends on who's there, but Matt Chapman is a fantastic righty against lefties. He is on the IL with an inflamed finger or something like that, so that takes a big bat out of the lineup. Bo Bichette has been day-to-day every day since leaving the game either Saturday or Sunday. That would be another bat that I consider taking Gore because he's out. The problem is 4.38 ERA. He did just get hit by the Yankees. Washington lost 9-1. He went 4 innings there, 2 home runs, 4 Ks. Is basically what we've looked at there. Going up against Toronto, hasn't faced them this year. Pitching on the road, he does have a 5+ ERA on the road. Probably would look at Toronto. It really just depends on the lineup that comes out for Toronto in this one. And then Jose Barrios going up against Washington. Again, he's been up and down as well. So you see some good games, not a good game, really good game, not a good game. He's 8,800 against Washington, hasn't faced them this year. Pitching at home, he does have a better ERA at home. I would be looking at Barrios here. Now, he does have a 3.55 ERA, but he has 144 Ks. So I'm kind of looking at, 6-7 strikeouts out of him. If he could go 7 innings, that would be perfect for what we need. But we will dig in. We will look at the bats in this one just in case what we're looking at. Bats that jump out, really the Nats. I mean, outside of Lane Thomas, you got Carter Kieboom, Ruiz a little bit. I just don't trust very many people in Washington. So I'm probably off of Washington completely. I would be looking at Jose Barrios, and I would be looking at Toronto. Depending on the bats that come out there, I think Vlad has been doing really well, and you can see a ton of red. This is what we need. We need a ton of red here. If Bo Bichette is in, which I don't know if he will be, I think it's another leg issue for him. If he's not on the IL, he's not on as of the making of this video. He could be put on by the time you watch it, but if for some reason he is in, I do like him, but he's not 100%. So I don't know if I want to pay that premium price of his if he's not 100%. Another one I could use would be George Springer against a lefty. Brandon Belt I'm okay with. I'd rather have him against a righty, though. Danny Jansen hits lefties very well, so if he's in, Danny Jansen would make himself into my lineup at some point. Whit Merrifield is another one that I would use. So probably avoiding Gore, I would look at Barrios, and I would look more so at Toronto bats, depending on the lineup that comes out, than any of the Nationals bats. Astros at the Red Sox, JP France versus Brayan Bello. So we just stacked against JP France his last start. I'm trying to remember who that was against. Game log. Oh, it was against Boston. Yeah, we stacked against him. And I told you, I said this might be one of the top stacks on that day. It was at home. Now, this is in Boston that I'm off of JP France. He was 8,200 there. He's 8,200 now. He went 2.1 innings, 10 earned runs. Boston is another stack that I like here. We did it last week, and it worked out tremendously. I think Boston was our number one stack there. I can't remember if we hit the nuts players or not in that stack, but they were our top stack, depending on what you guys did. I mean, Boston ended up winning 17-1. So I'm not saying they're going to obviously do the same thing here, but it is definitely an option, especially at this ballpark. The ball flies out of there. And you can check it out. If you go to MLB tab, you go to the ballpark ratings, it shows the ballparks, the numbers that you're looking for, the rankings for all the ballparks that are currently for this slate. So definitely a lot of free information over there. Go check out FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. So I'm completely off France, and then I believe Bello faced, it was the same day, right? And yeah, it was the same day, and we used him against Houston, and it came through for us. The problem was three walks with only 4 Ks wasn't enough. But again, we're looking for that 2 times salary is what the value we're looking for. So he's $1,000 or he's $100 more. If he could replicate this, it's a perfect storm for us. Tournaments though, because I don't trust this ballpark not to be a low scoring game. So I'd rather look at. I don't want anything to do with JP France. I would look at the bats though in this one, and we can real quick. Real quick, like if it'll load. So we've used Jordan every single day, or not every day, but every time we've used him, it's been a fantastic matchup for him, and he has not homered in a while, and his price is still a very premium price there. So use that cautiously, but he's obviously his numbers are fantastic. He could wrap that around pesky pool easily. Yanir Diaz, I like him more against lefties, but I'm okay with him here against Bello. Kyle Tucker, I'm okay with. Tournament options would be Singleton and Abreu, just depends on who gets the start or who plays. Chas McCormick is an option. Alex Bregman, I don't mind. Jeremy Pena, I'm okay with. And then obviously Jose Altuve at the top. That would be the Astros bats I would look at. The Boston bats I would look at against JP France. Devers, as long as he's okay. I know he's been day-to-day a couple of days. Tristan Casas, Justin Turner, Alex Verdugo, Yoshida I would look at. Those would probably be the bats that I would look at for Boston and the Houston Astros. So I'm off of France. I will use Bayo probably in tournaments, and I'll have stacks of both. Rangers at the Mets, you got Andrew Heaney versus Jose Quintana. Battle of the lefties here. Which one's going to come out on top? We don't know. We got Andrew Heaney here. I guess I forgot to click it. Hasn't been very effective lately. Not going 5 innings in almost a month. Walking, home runs, earned runs. I don't know if I trust him. Probably going to be off of him. I just don't trust him, especially on the road. He's 4.41 ERA. I would look at the bats in this one, to be completely honest with you. Then we got Quintana here at 6,300. Game logs, kind of the same thing. Like, he's had some good games here. Then he had, against Atlanta, that's not saying much. They're a really good team. But he's going up against Texas, which is a really good team too. I'm probably avoiding both of these pitchers. I'd rather stick with the bats in this than the pitchers that we'd see. So, the bats that really stick out at you that you would want to take, Texas bats, obviously Marcus Semien would be number one. We'll probably leading off. Adolis Garcia against a lefty. Corey Seager, I don't mind against a lefty. Mitch Garver is a fantastic option going up against a lefty. I would look at Nate Lowe. Maybe even Jonah Heim a little bit. So those would be the Texas Rangers bats that I'd use. And then the Mets bats that we could look at. Lindor, switch hitter there. Francisco Alvarez, I believe, is a switch hitter. Pete Alonso against a lefty, which the news I read Sunday was it Sunday or was it Monday? Whenever I read it, that the Mets are like 99% going to move Pete Alonso in the offseason, which is wild. I did not think they would do something like that, but it is the Mets. The only Mets bets that I would really look at would be Alonso, Alvarez, Lindor, maybe Brandon Nimmo here. So avoiding pitching, be looking at the bats. I'd rather focus on Texas, but I'll have a couple of the Mets bats as well. Pete Alonso is probably one of my favorite plays here against Andrew Heaney. Guardians at the Twins, you got Gavin Williams versus Pablo Lopez. Gavin Williams coming in. Don't know what we're going to get. We've used him multiple times this year, and we've had good luck with him, and then we've had bad luck with him. He's 8,600, so he's coming in at a pretty steep price. Game logs the fact is he's the same price he was against the Dodgers. Didn't do well. Didn't do well against Detroit. Did well against Tampa Bay. Did really well against Toronto. Don't know what we're going to get out of him. He's going up against Minnesota. Hasn't faced them this year. He's pitching on the road, where he is actually better on the road at 2.05 ERA. Then we've got Pablo Lopez here at the top. Now this feels like a trap yet again. Without looking at what he did last week, we said to stack against him because of his price. Against Texas, he was very high price. He was 10,600, and he went 5 innings, gave up 5 earned runs, had 2.7 fantasy points. Not ideal. Problem is, he's going up against Cleveland. He faced them once this year, 5.2 innings, 6 earned runs, and they don't strike out a ton, and he did get 5 strikeouts, but they were hitting. So I feel like this is a trap again. I don't think I want to pay up $10,800 for him. If I'm paying up, I'm probably paying at Kershaw or Burns, but we'll have to dig into those numbers there. So looking at these bats that we could feel confident about, let's take a look at the bats for both Cleveland and Minnesota, what we would look at. Yeah, I mean, obviously Jose Ramirez would be one. Cole Calhoun would be a cheaper option. Eric Haase, I don't mind. Stephen Kwan being a lefty, I'm okay with. Andres Jimenez, a little bit there. They've had success against him in the past, and I just do not trust Pablo Lopez at that price. And then if we're not taking Gavin Williams, Max Kepler's an option. Correa, Julian, Royce Lewis, Jorge Polanco giving us that switch hitter vibe, I believe. I would look at him. Maybe a little bit of Jordan Luplow as a tournament option. So Most likely avoiding both of these pitchers. I'll look at the bats a little bit in this one. Padres at the Cardinals, Seth Lugo versus Zach Thompson. Lugo, he's faced 28 plate appearances against him, a .538 batting average. Looking at Lugo here, game logs, he's been decent his past couple of starts. Not so good here. Really good at Colorado, which, not everyone does. Has not faced St. Louis this year. We know that they struggled this year. Pitching on the road, he is actually better on the road. So depending on how the weather is, I don't mind Seth Lugo at 7,900. In that price range, 7,900, I like him more than I like Brian Bayo and JP France and Mackenzie Gore and Dean Kramer. So at that price, I'm okay with at 7,900. Then we go with Zach Thompson here. I believe he's gone 5 innings his past couple of starts. Pretty good here. I mean, he's hit the 2 times value here. San Diego, seeing the record as of Monday before the game started, they were tied with the Nationals at like 11 under or something like that. I think it was something like that, or 9 under. Yeah, I mean, tournaments I'm okay with at 5,600 because San Diego, people are going to see, it's San Diego, they hit really well. Well, I mean, they have a losing record right now. I don't mind Zach Thompson, especially Zach Thompson. I almost said Zach Thomas. Or I was thinking Zach Morris for Saved by the Bell. But yeah, Thompson, I'm okay with Thompson here at 5,600. We can look at the bats just to see. Not sure it's really going to matter in this one. There's just with 15 games, we got some stud pitching. We got some mid-tier pitching that I'm okay with. If you're not going with Thompson, Juan Soto, obviously, Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, Trent Grisham. I mean, these are very high, expensive batters that the percentage and the chalk is going to be up there. If you want to go a little bit less, you could look at Ben Gamel. You could look at Gary Sanchez, Bogarts, Ha-Seong Kim to mix and match there. But at Thompson's price, I kind of like him there. Seth Lugo, I really don't like any of the Cardinals bats against him. Nolan Gorman, Goldie, Walker, like those all are fantastic red, but I'm kind of siding with Seth Lugo in this one. So that's kind of my thought on this one. It could change. We'll do the simulations. Obviously, after doing 10,000 simulations, we'll kind of see what it likes. That's kind of how we go through the motions there. Next game, Brewers at the Cubs. You got Corbin Burnes versus Justin Steele. Burnes, 110 plate appearances. He's seen him enough. I feel like he just pitched against them. Am I wrong? Or am I right? Let's check it out. Game logs. Nope, I was wrong. Did not do well against Minnesota. Did really well against the Dodgers. Not well against White Sox. Kind of a pattern there. He's 10,600. He's $100 more than last week. Faced the Cubs once this year. 5 innings pitched, 4 earned runs. That game, let's see, was that in Milwaukee or Chicago? That was the first game of the year against Chicago. So that's kind of skewed a little bit. He's been pitching, 3.65 ERA here. Pitching on the road, he is better on the road at 3.08 in 14 games started. 2 more games started than home games. 10,600 at that price. I do like him better than Pablo Lopez, but the Cubs they're doing something special this year. They're in it to win it. This is, for the division. Basically, it's probably going to come down to these 2 teams. Will Milwaukee run away with it? We don't know yet. So I don't mind Burnes there. And then we got Justin Steele. We just used him his last start. He did okay for us at 16.7 against Pittsburgh, but he didn't get the value that we need. Did get 6 Ks, but had 2 walks and 2 earned runs, total of 3 runs against Pittsburgh. Splits-wise, he's faced Milwaukee twice this year. He's actually had success against them. This is the exact kind of fantasy point we would need out of him, 19.6. 12 innings pitched in that one, 3 earned runs with 13 Ks. Problem is he's not striking them out a ton. Let's see. His last start, he had 5 strikeouts. And then the start before that would have been the first game. He had 8 strikeouts. So that's kind of a thought here. At 9,500 in that price range, I do like him more than Merrill Kelly. I do like him more than Jose Barrios. So if you want to look at the bats, because we know both of these teams have been doing well, the bats have been going pretty well on top of that. The ones that jump out to me against Burns, or let's do Milwaukee first. So Christian Yelich, a lefty on lefty matchup, I'm okay with. William Contreras against a lefty, sign me up for a home run right there. I'm not saying he will, but I wouldn't be surprised. Same thing with Santana. He's a switch hitter. He'll be in there for the game. Willie Adames has 20-plus home runs this year. That would be another option for me. Cubs bats against Burns, I would look at Suzuki. I would look at Ian Happ. Both Ian Happ's a switch hitter, I believe. Dansby Swanson I'm okay with. Chris Morel, I do like Morel more against righties or against lefties, but I'll take him here. Candelario, more of an option for switch hitting there. Mike Tauchman. Mike Tauchman will be a value play if he's leading off. And then Cody Bellinger against the lefty, I'm all for. And then Nico Horner, more of a tournament option. But I think if you think about a Cubs stack, if you're building a Cubs stacks, you have to have Cody Bellinger every single time. So that's my thought on this one. Tournaments, I don't mind either of these pitchers. In cash, I don't know. The way that both of these teams have been hitting, I'm probably avoiding both of these pitchers. Pirates at the Royals, to be announced versus Cole Ragans. So Ragans has been really good since getting traded. It looks like it's going to be Ortiz for Pirates, but we can't confirm that. Let's see. He'll either be pitching Tuesday or Wednesday. We don't know yet. So I don't want to speculate, but I mean, it's not been good. It's not one you would be using. That's the problem. So I don't know if it's going to be him, but we'll definitely look. And then Ragans here. 5,400, 38.3. We used him last week against Oakland. Domination. At 5,400, you have to, which is crazy because he was 7,300 against the Cubs. Then they dropped him that far down against Oakland. Now he's pitching in Kansas City, which is a pitcher's park. 6,000. It's wild. Yeah, it's like a free square there. So that means probably the Kansas City Royals will dominate him. The Pirates would dominate him. But I'm all in on Ragans at that price. 6,000? Absolutely sign me up. I'm not using Ortiz. I don't know if it's going to be Ortiz, but we will look at the bats just in case it is Ortiz. It's either going to be Tuesday or Wednesday, and as of the making of the video, we don't know. So looking at this, if you're not using Ragans, Brian Hayes against the lefty I'm okay with. McCutchen I'm okay with. Connor Joe I'm okay with. Some one-offs here would be Sawinski and Reynolds. If you are looking at the Royals bats, because the way Ortiz has been terrible, I would look at MJ Melendez, 100% on Bobby Witt here. Don't be surprised if Witt has a home run or a stolen base in this game. Salvi Perez against anyone, I'm okay with there. Michael Massey, tournament option, same thing with Furman and Kyle Isbell. So I will be taking Ragans. And then it will come down to if that is Ortiz, then a Royal stack might go under-owned today. Then we got the Braves at the Rockies, Morton versus Peter Lambert. I don't want anything to do with the pitching just because it's in Coors. I'm all in on taking the Braves bats. Every single Braves bat, we don't even need to discuss this one. You know that every single Braves bat is in play. Acuna, Olsen, Rosario, Ozzy Albies is back. Nicky Lopez is there. Just depends on the lineup that comes out. I'm okay with a Brave stack, and I don't really want pitching to go with this. Nolan Jones, Brendan Rodgers, Charlie Blackmon, those would be the Colorado bats that I'd look at. Oakland at the Mariners is next. Ken Waldichuk versus George Kirby. I'm all in on George Kirby here against the A's, and I'm looking at the Mariners as a stack. So let's take a look. George Kirby is the fourth highest priced pitcher on this slate. Right? Yeah, 9,700 would be George Kirby. And it's lagging again because the computer sucks. Game logs, okay, did pretty good there. Didn't do good there. Some good starts here. Now he goes up against Oakland. He's faced them once this year. 7 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, only 2 Ks. So that is the problem. He didn't strike them out very much. Was that in Oakland or in Seattle? That was at Oakland. That is a pitcher's park, and he still didn't get a ton of strikeouts. That is the problem. He's got to get more strikeouts in this one, especially at this price. So if he can get those strikeouts up, he's an option that I would look at 9,700. Just a little bit of problem there. And then Ken Waldichuk, I want absolutely nothing to do with him. I'm 100% on the Mariners bats. He's faced them once this year, 5 earned runs. Yeah, that's what I thought. I would definitely look at the bats. If I'm looking at the bats in this one, I'm not looking at any of the Oakland bats. I'm looking at George Kirby as my pitcher, and then I'm looking at Teoscar Hernandez, Julio Rodriguez, Eugenio Suarez, Cal Raleigh. I absolutely love Cal Raleigh here. Brian O'Keefe is a cheap option. Ty France against the lefty is a tournament option. Dylan Moore is a tournament option. Josh Rojas is a tournament option. But I would circle these 3 for sure in a Mariners stack, these 3, and then I would add Cal Raleigh as a 4th one. So if you're looking for a 5th one for DraftKings, possibly Ty France here for home runs. He hasn't been as good as we would like, but I'm okay with there. Then we got the Reds at the Giants. You got Brandon Williamson versus Alex Cobb. Brandon Williamson is here at 6,500, so he's in the middle. I like him better than Quintana, but not as better as Reagan's here. Williamson coming in, had a good game here. He's 6,500 now. He's faced San Francisco once this year, 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 3 strikeouts. He's pitching in San Francisco, and they're a depleted team. I'm okay with Williamson. I'm definitely okay with Williams, especially at 6,500. You can use him, and then you could pay up for a different position. And then Alex Cobb here is at 6,800, right above him. Not, double here, but not the best against Philly. Struggled right through here. Now he comes in. He's faced Cincy once this year. 4.1 innings, 5 earned runs. It's kind of what I think will happen in this one. It is a pitcher's ballpark, but I'd rather take the bats in this one. And Williamson a little bit because the fact that the Giants' bats are very, very depleted here. So looking at the bats, taking a gander. Ellie De La Cruz against Cobb I'm very okay with. Matt McClain I'm looking at. Spencer Steer, Nick Senzel, Friedel. I'm okay with those bats. And then if you're not taking Williamson and you want to look at Giants bats, J.D. Davis I'm okay with. Austin Slater had a home run on Sunday. Lamont Wade Jr. I would look at. Wilmer Flores against the lefty I'm okay with. Casey Schmidt is a tournament option. I think he's a tournament option. Paul DeYoung is a tournament option there. Tyro Estrada is also a tournament option there. But I'll have more exposure to Williamson than I will the Giants bats. Then the final game on the slate, we've got Merrill Kelly versus Clayton Kershaw for the late night hammer. What are we going to get? Merrill Kelly is, where is he at? There he is. 9,100 against the Dodgers. You would think his price would have come down a little bit because he's facing the Dodgers, but it hasn't. Coming off a fantastic game against Cincinnati. 7 innings, 12 Ks. We did use him in that start. I do remember that. But we also used him in this start where he didn't do well. Splits-wise, he's faced the Dodgers 3 times this year. He's actually held them pretty well. 15.1 innings, has given up 15 hits, but only 2 earned runs and 10 Ks, but 10 walks. And that is why he is averaging 11.8 fantasy points, which is not enough at 9,100. 9,100, you need at least 18.2 fantasy points out of him. I don't trust him enough. I don't want anything to do with Merrill Kelly. Now we can look at Kershaw here. My problem with Kershaw, he's come back from injury. He's not gone more than 5 innings. And he's not struck out more than 4. He's not paying his price off in any of these. He hasn't paid his price off since June 27th when he left injured. Or when he got injured. That is my problem. I don't know if I want to pay up for Clayton Kershaw at this price. So we'll look at the bats real quick just to see if the bats make more sense than paying up for that price that we might not get the value that we need out of him. So looking at it, if I'm not using the Dodgers, or I'm not using Kershaw, Evan Longoria, if he's not injured again by the time you watch this video, he would be an option that I'd look at. Trying to see if he is injured. He's an option that I'd look at. Tommy Pham against the lefty I'm okay with. Ketel Marte is a switch hitter, so I'm okay with that. Corbin Carroll I would look at. Gabriel Moreno, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. You know what? I think people are going to see Kershaw in his price, and they're going to go with him. I think I want to go the other side. I want to look at Diamondbacks bats. So the bats that do stick out, Longoria, Pham, Ketel Marte, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Christian Walker, Gabriel Moreno, Corbin Carroll. Some form of that as a stack I'm okay with, and I think we could come out on top there. Could I be wrong? Yes, that's the difference between me and the other providers. If I'm wrong about Kershaw and I remember it tomorrow, and you guys can call me out on it, I will tell you I'm wrong. I think that Kershaw could get hit hard, or he doesn't go deep in the game, and we go with an Arizona stack. But I'm also on the other side looking at a Dodger stack too. I'm looking at Mookie Betts, MVP candidate at the top of the list as of now. I would look at him. I would look at Max Muncy. I would look at Freddie Freeman. I would look at Will Smith. Jumps out to me. Depending on the outfield, either Outman or Peralta, I don't mind either of those. And then Ahmed Rosario is another option that I would look at. So looking at the pricing here, probably avoiding Lopez at $10,800, avoiding Kershaw. I'll have a little bit of Burns, but he has been hit hard by the Cubs. So my highest priced pitcher might be my favorite. George Kirby and Justin Steele would be my two high ones that I'd pay for. Probably avoid these three right here. And there you have it. There's the breakdown of the pitchers and the bats on the entire slate. If you found it helpful or useful, hit that like button. And now we are going to go in and we're going to give you the top 10 pitchers and the top 10 bats after 2,000 simulations from FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. And I'll let you know right now, I think you can probably already guess what the number one stack is, but we'll go through it real quick. Number one batter is Ronald Acuna Jr., 2 is Austin Riley, 3 is Matt Olson, 4 is Michael Harris, 5 is Elly De La Cruz, 6 is Mookie Betts, 7 is Eddie Rosario, 8 is Marcell Ozuna, 9 is Corey Seager, 10 is Ryan McMahon, and 11 is Max Muncy. I wanted to go to 11 because in the top 11, 6 of them are the Braves, 2 of them are the Dodgers, 1 is Cincinnati, 1 is Colorado, and 1 is Texas. So as of the first 2,000 simulations here, the Braves are the number one stack in Colorado, but it's going to be very difficult to pay all of those guys in Coors because they are going to be priced very high. And then if we go through the top 10 pitchers on the slate as of right now, it will change a little bit, but here are the top 10 according to 2,000 simulations. Tariq Skubal, George Kirby, Seth Lugo, Jose Barrios, Sandy Alcantara, Michael Lorenzen, Corbin Burns, Gavin Williams, Dean Kramer, and Brandon Williamson. So those are the top 10 bats and pitchers. If you want to see more, they are on the website, FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. Check it out under the MLB tab. That's all I've got for you in this video. Hopefully you're still here after 48 minutes. Good luck on this slate. And as always, let's bring home some bacon, guys. Peace!